live, the AFC Championship. Here's your host, Bob Costas.
And here's your site, Joe Robbie Stadium, the AFC Championship game, Buffalo and Miami, division rivals, playing today for a spot in Super Bowl 27. A gorgeous day in South Florida. Temperatures in the mid-70s, a slight breeze, no chance of rain, the field in great shape. Some of the 73,000 expected still arriving. Miami is the only team in history ever to go to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. They did it with the great Dolphin teams of the 70s. Buffalo is trying to duplicate that feat today. Bob Costas with Will McDonough and Broncos quarterback John Elway, no stranger to AFC Championship games, having played in 4 of the last 6. But in a sense, this is a first for you.
This is really a first because it's the first pro football game that I've ever been to that I haven't been involved in. So it's something that hopefully I don't get used to.
Keeping intact, however, the record of never having paid to see an NFL game.
That's true, and from what I was talking to you earlier, it's like OJ in golf, so hopefully I can keep that record intact.
Well, Todd Christensen has also played in a couple of AFC Championship games. He's on the Dolphins sideline with his report. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Bob, thanks a lot. You know, despite this old and decrepit body, like John Elway, I wish I was out there playing today. The excitement in the stadium is electric. Everybody's aware that the Miami Dolphins are Dan Marino's team, but over the second half of the season, the defense has really carried them. I had a chance to talk earlier with Pro Bowl linebacker Brian Cox with his assessment of today's game.
Second year in the league, lead the team in tackles, lead the sacks, Pro Bowl, and now you're 1 game from the Super Bowl. This has got to be exciting.
It means nothing unless we win a damn. We're ready to bang heads.
What is it you have to do mindset-wise, the difference between last week and the weeks before? I mean, here it is, Buffalo the 3rd time. The familiarity is there.
Well, the difference in the game, we're so close, you know, and we're so familiar with each other. The difference in the game will be turnovers. If we can create turnovers, we'll win this game.
This is a very young defense. The average age of the starters is 25, and there are 3 rookies. Dwight Hollier inside replacing John Offerdahl, Marco Coleman, and the great cornerback Troy Vincent, who last week had 2 interceptions in their shutout of the San Diego Chargers. On the surface, you would think that maybe Buffalo can take advantage of that inexperience, but this defense is riding high, a lot of confidence, Juice.
Well, you got that right on this side of the field, Todd. The big question is Jim Kelly and his condition. Well, he practiced every day this week. He looked good in practice, and he said he felt well. He looked excellent warming up here. A lot of zip on the ball. The only thing he'll be doing today is wearing this brace, and that's not different because he wears it in every game. As a matter of fact, he said if he wasn't wearing this brace, he thought his injury would be a little more severe than it turned out to be. Now, the only thing different about Jim that I noticed was his attitude. He seemed somewhat bothered by all the controversy if he should be playing or White should be playing, and he looked visibly bothered when I met him as he arrived at the stadium today. That's a big question is, how do you feel today?
How do I feel? What kind of question is that? You know how I feel.
Yeah? You ready? A good week of practice, no repercussions of the delay?
Excellent week of practice, I'm ready.
Well, as you can see, he had a little attitude there. We're not going to tell the condition of Jim Kelly until he gets hit on the football field, and we're going to find that out in about a half hour or so. Well, that's the story down here. Dick Enberg, what's the story up there?
All right, O.J., well, Jim Kelly, we found him, Bob Trumpy and I, to be testy and on edge as we tried to chat with him yesterday. Obviously concerned about a big game. The fact that the home folks actually voted for Reich over Kelly to start today, and the fact there was a report in a newspaper and being circulated that you knocked him in the press and that you had a shouting match with him yesterday.
Yeah, this was at the Orange Bowl in their last walkthrough, and I confronted Kelly just to give him my side of the story. He was heavy into preparation for this football game, did not want to talk, and I understood, but I wanted him to hear my side.
What did you say about him?
I said that his ego is his greatest attribute, and with an injury, he's going to override his injury with his ego and be out there on the field. I treat his injury as something that his ego can beat. It was reported, unfortunately, that it was a negative that he used his ego to play in a game like this.
And it wasn't shouting.
No, and I'll tell you, you'll know when I'm shouting, and so will he.
All right, I know. Well, up in New York, though, they've voted for Reich over Kelly 5-1 in one coach's poll. That didn't make him feel any better, and even his own teammates seemed to waver on the choice.
I don't know. It's hard to say whether the magic is still going to be there when Jim comes back. Frank's had the hot hand these last 2 games, and I think without him being in there and guiding us, we definitely wouldn't be playing this game. But Jim's going to be in there, so we got to be behind him.
Reich or Kelly? No doubt in Marv Levy's mind.
No, he told us yesterday it was a no decision. There was no swelling in the knee after the workout. There was no pain, and there was no problem with the mobility, so he was the guy.
And also added, even if Kelly has a bad half, he will not yank him. He'll stay with him. All right, whom would be your choice to start today?
I like the choice of Jim Kelly as the starter. He's the fire for the Buffalo offense. I think Frank Reich is the Iceman for Buffalo's offense.
All right, Bob.
All right, Dick and Trump, obviously the Kelly-Reich controversy has been raging all week. Our Paul McGuire resides in the Buffalo area, used to play for the Bills, but right now he is vacationing in Ocean Ridge, Florida. He has graciously agreed to take time out from his power tanning sessions to join the discussions. Assuming, Paul, that Jack Kemp is not available, who should be the Bills' starting quarterback?
Well, I believe that Frank Reich should be the quarterback, Bob. I really do. And Marv Levy didn't ask me or ask you or any of the other players on the football team. He made that decision to be Jim Kelly. And the one reason I'm saying that is this. Frank Reich cannot come off the bench and play well. If you start Reich and you still have Kelly back there, now you have something you can go to. But I don't think if something happens to Kelly, that Reich can get back in and pick it up, because he did not take hardly any of the snaps during the course of the week, Robert.
All right, let's send it around the horn, beginning with OJ's quick take. Kelly or Reich, Juice?
I totally disagree with our buddy up there tanning. I think Kelly's a starter. He was healthy. He practiced all week. He should be the guy out there. Reich did get more snaps than he would normally get during the regular season. He did take 20% of the snaps. If he has to come in, I expect him to do a good job. Kelly should be the starter. Todd, what do you think?
Well, OJ, it's a corporate decision. Who's the guy you're paying $4 million to? Who's the guy that's led you to the last 2 Super Bowls? I think the decision is a no-brainer. But I want to say something here about Frank Reich. 2 playoff victories, greatest comeback in the history of the NFL. He demurred all week to Jim Kelly, talking about their friendship. And in this day and age of self-promoters, of guys with double backflips and all this sort of thing, I have to say that Frank Reich might not get much for style points, but as far as the substance, he's a 10.
All right, Todd, something worth mentioning. 2 years ago, when the Bills made their first trip to the Super Bowl, Kelly got injured in a game at New York, the game where Phil Simms was also hurt. And he didn't play the last 2 games of the regular season. Reich came in. They had a bye before they went into the playoffs, so there was a 4-week stretch. He had hurt the knee, a similar injury, not the same knee, but a similar injury. He played well against the Dolphins. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Marv Levy, no doubt aware of that. But the difference, the rest here is 3 weeks and not 4. And last time, although Reich filled in, he wasn't on fire like he is this time. Reich has thrown 6 touchdown passes in his last 6 quarters. Kelly finished the year with 5 TD throws in his last 7 games.
But like you said 3 years ago, when Kelly came back, he played great. And the Buffalo coaches told me on the field before the game, he looks the same as he did 3 years ago. Their feeling is, after playing such a long season and throwing so many footballs, veteran quarterbacks, their arms start to wear down. When he came back 3 years ago, they said he threw the ball better than before he got hurt. This week, they say he's throwing it better than before he got hurt. John, how do you feel about it? Does your arm wear down as the season goes along?
There's no question that it wears down, especially when you're as old as Jim is, 33 years old, that as the season goes on, it wears down. And a quarterback's arms like a marathoner's legs, and the fact that they wear down. So I think that this 3 weeks off is going to actually help Jim, and he'll be throwing the ball sharp today.
All right, now, one other item concerning the Bills. The AFC Championship has been in Buffalo the last 2 years. It might have been at Rich Stadium today, but for the Bills' loss at Houston on the final Sunday of the regular season. This is a live shot of Rich Stadium. They've had several inches of snow in the last few days, but the Bills decided to stay in the colder climate all week rather than train here in the warmth of South Florida. Okay, when we come back, OJ will take a look at the Bills-Dolphins rivalry, which is developing into one of the NFL's best. That's as we continue on the AFC Championship edition of NFL Live.
NFL Live, the AFC Championship, is brought to you by Intel, the computer inside, by EA Sports Video Games. If it's in the game, it's in the game. And by Plus System. Plus marks the spot for cash when you travel at cash machines coast to coast and beyond.
You know you can get cash just across the street. But did you know you can get cash all across the country? Using the same card you use at the cash machines at home. That is, when your card has a plus. Because Plus marks the spot for cash when you travel. At cash machines in big cities and small towns. In all 50 states and beyond. So check your card and name your street.
chunky is now chunkier. Thick just got thicker. Ortega's new, thicker, chunkier salsa. It's Mex to the max.
Give me the rock, give me the handles, give me the paint, give me the shoes. You have anything in a Gorilla Slam, sweet. Give me that, not that brick, that brick. Give me him some of that and one of those. Showtime. Take his move, his move, his move. Not that move, that move. Money. Give me my house. If it's in the game, it's in the game. Bulls versus Blazers and Bulls versus Lakers for Super NES and Sega Genesis. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Why settle for average performance in a shave when you could have the superior performance of Edge Gel? Ultimate closeness, ultimate comfort. That's the Edge. This symbol outside means you have the standard inside that an entire library of software has been written to. The Intel microprocessor. Think of it as a library card that lets you run the software of today and tomorrow. So check out computers with Intel, the computer inside.
Back at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, the Dolphins and the Bills getting set for the AFC Championship. A look at the Bills' defensive end, Bruce Smith. He had another Pro Bowl season, but he usually doesn't ring up big numbers against the Dolphins. Just 3.5 sacks in 14 career games. Now, Smith's battle today with Miami's fine young left tackle, Richmond Webb, is just one of many subplots. Of course, they'll move Smith around the line. He won't always be going head-to-head with Webb. But in any case, no matter the individual confrontations, OJ, the Dolphins and the Bills have truly become one of the NFL's leading rivalries.
You got that right, Bob. When I was in college, we had two great rivalries against UCLA and Notre Dame. Those were the easy games to get up for. Even though the rest of the country may be just tuning in to this Bills, tell you, it's one of the fiercest in the game today.
One would be hard-pressed to find two cities more opposite. Lifestyles more different. Or a rivalry more intense.
It's one of the best ones in the game right now. I think it definitely compares with the Bears and the Packers and all the other rivalries. We hate each other. I think that's the bottom line.
Hatred. It's a very competitive fire, you know. A lot of our guys don't like some of their guys, and a lot of their guys don't like us. But, you know, it's just a competitive game each time we play.
I have a few friends on the Dolphins, and if you throw a couple of those out, it'd be one where I wish I was playing linebacker and playing against a guy I dislike because I'd like to smash mouth him too. And I'm sure they feel the same way.
First game I played in was a Buffalo game, and we had a great game, and everybody was so intense because of the rivalry between the two. And you can just feel it in the atmosphere when you're out there playing. These guys don't like each other, and it's just intensity because they are probably the two best teams in the AFC.
The Bills and Dolphins have exchanged victories on each other's home field this season. Their Week 5 meeting turned into the Lewis Oliver show as the flamboyant defensive back intercepted 3 Jim Kelly passes, including his 103-yard touchdown return, topped off by some of his patented dance moves that weren't too entertaining to the Bills.
Of course you're excited, but I never like to overly excite everything and make it look even stupid to the point where it looks dumb. I guess that's a guy's personality coming out when he does that. I don't know.
Let's go, Buffalo! Let's go, Buffalo! Shout! Make you wanna shout! Make you wanna shout! Make you wanna.
Do you ever worry about repercussions that's going to be bulletin board material for the next time you have to play the Bills?
Well, you know, I'm hoping that they look at it like that, take it that way, you know, and get a little offended and a little pissed off about it because, you know, that just makes me play harder. We killed the Buffaloes, you know what I'm saying? We shot them in the head and wiped them off the prairie.
The Dolphins' favorite Christmas carol. Beat the hell out of the Bills.
Is that what it says?
La, 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 la.
From our our standpoint, we don't want anybody else to do our dirty work. If somebody's going to do it, we want to do it. So I guess that's the standpoint that we took about his T-shirts. He needs to take care of his own business. If anybody's going to beat us, I mean, I let them go ahead and try and do it.
When I do talk trash, I can back it up. So, you know, I don't worry about it.
I just look at it this way. They're going to be guys that talk. The only thing is, when he opens his mouth, you just insert your foot.
We're trying to take something away from them that they want, and they've been there before, and they're trying to take something away from us, you know, getting to the Super Bowl. So I guess that's where you get in the situation where they don't like us because we can take something away from them.
Would it be tougher to lose to the Dolphins more so than it would be to Pittsburgh or Houston?
Without a doubt. I say that just like I did because I mean it. This is one where I think everybody in this football team, you ask each individual, and they'd say they'd rather lose to any other team except the Dolphins.
Well, without a doubt, a lot of these guys don't like one another. Some of them are friends, but I can tell you when I played, you want to play harder against your friends because you got to deal with them on the offseason. In any event, I expect a very physical, exciting game here today, Bob. Should be great.
All right, OJ, it's a rivalry now. Once it was no contest. Miami once beat Buffalo 20 straight times. The Bills were 0 for the 70s against Miami. Let's talk rivalries. I think of Denver and the Raiders. Does it really enter in, or is it more for fans or post-game talk?
No, it really enters in because I think you have a rivalry when you have two teams competing for the same goal, and that's to win the division and get to the Super Bowl. So it definitely enters in for the players, and it makes them even tougher when it's your friends.
Okay, entering into the equation now, some commercial messages, and when we come back, more on the matchup in the AFC Championship game.
Well, I think that over 10% of the U.S. population goes to bed hungry, and that's something that's hard to imagine. At my restaurant, like a lot of restaurants, we have extra food. Most restaurateurs don't necessarily know what to do with that food, though. And it's just a totally logical connection that we who often have leftover food would want to address this problem of hunger. The most effective way is through an organization, which is actually a national organization called Share Our Strength. They are simply agents who connect the restaurants with the shelters. Because American Express has provided the funding for Share Our Strength, their dollars are actually going to connect food with someone who needs it.
American Express supports Share Our Strength. Call 1-800-251-7000 to find out how you can, too.
Why get an inferior shave when you could have the best? Why choose ordinary lubrication when you could have the richest? Why settle for average protection against razor irritation when you could have the most advanced, giving you the closest shave with less irritation? Edge Gel. Ultimate closeness. Ultimate comfort. That's the edge.
Another Super Bowl memory in a moment.
Catch the Super Bowl starting at 3:30, January 31st.
If we lost, then of course the reputation of the National Football League for the first 50 years was probably gone down the drain. So you had that burden placed on you, and not only did we have to win, but we had to look good winning. Fortunately, I kind of think that's the way it went for us.
Anticipation running high. The capacity crowd almost fully in place at Joe Robbie Stadium. First ever AFC Championship game in this relatively new park. They played a Super Bowl here once before. That was the one where Montana led the late drive and the 49ers overtook Cincinnati. Don Shula has been to 6 Super Bowls, 5 with the Dolphins, 1 with Baltimore. His 23rd year as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Hasn't been to the big show since the '84 Dolphins lost to San Francisco. That was the year Marino threw the 48 touchdown passes. All right, speaking of coaches, Don Shula has been in place during some 175 head coaching changes around the league since he came here to Miami. And, of course, there will be more in this offseason. Let's begin with Dave Wannstedt.
Yeah, Dave Wannstedt of Dallas right now, Bob, as we said last week, is the hot guy. I've been told that he's been offered the head coaching job of the New York Giants. But before he takes that job, Chicago wants to talk to him about being the Bears' next head coach. I think if Wannstedt goes to New York and doesn't come to Chicago, I think the Bears will look at John's old coach, Dan Reeves. I understand his name will be in the mix. In New England, nobody has been offered the jobs. 4 people are on a short list. Mike Ditka, Buddy Ryan, Bill Parcells, Ray Rhodes. I understand that Ditka and Buddy Ryan have already interviewed.
Would Ditka accept the Patriots job?
Well, you know, Bob, when we talked last week when he was in the studio, you sort of got the feeling that he wanted to wait for expansion. And I think there's a good reason for that. He had $900,000 left in a contract when he was with the Bears. That was the Bears' option. So if he goes to coach, right, they can offset that $900,000. But if he is a general manager, a CEO, or an owner, he gets paid in full. I don't think he wants to work this year as a coach if he can make $900,000 sitting out.
All right, let's talk about Dan Reeves having departed Denver. A lot of people said it was because of irreconcilable differences with you.
Well, that's not true either. I think that even though Dan and I did have our differences over the 10 years that I was there, that we always got through those things. And I think this last year was something that we got along as well as we ever have. So I think that it's always difficult for a head coach to get fired. But then again, I have a lot of belief, a lot of trust in our owner, Pat Bowlen, that he feels like he's doing the right thing for the Denver Broncos.
The word is that Mike Shanahan is a virtual lock to succeed Reeves. You have a great relationship with Shanahan. Are you hopeful that's the way it turns out?
Well, I do have a great relationship with Mike Shanahan. And I think that's something that he's done a lot for my career when he was there as my coach, but also with all the other coaches coming in, the other ones that they're interviewing, it's hard for me to be objective of which is the best guy for the job in Denver, so it's hard for me to say.
Are you part of this process at all? And I'm not suggesting it would be a bad thing if you were. After all, you're the franchise.
No, I'm not part of the process. You know, against popular belief, I really have nothing to do with it, and you know, I'd like to be a part of it, but I'm sure Mr. Bowlen will make the right decision.
All right, time for us to step aside one last time. When we come back, player introductions from Miami. Stay with us.
It took me about 25 years to see things the way I do now. And I think I'm still learning. One thing that a customer should get is the feeling that he is the most important person in the place. At your service. You open your place to people more with American Express. It's easier. No, I couldn't really put it any other way.
American Express is welcomed at Harry's Bar and just about anywhere else Harry's been.
A twin blade from Bic?
What's in it for me?
This is new? A twin for normal skin and a twin for sensitive, right? It was good.
The new Bic Twin Select.
Made a big man out of me.
All-Pro quarterback Dan Marino.
When the game is over and the pain starts, I want 2 things from my pain-relieving rub. Fast relief and no odor. So I use Sports Cream, a strong pain-relieving rub that doesn't make me smell like a medicine chest. I just massage in Sports Cream for fast, odor-free relief. Cream or lotion, Sports Cream sure gets my vote for fast relief and no odor.
Next Sunday, the NBA Game of the Week returns to NBC. First, Michael Jordan, the greatest superstar in all of sports, visits Mr. Robinson's neighborhood as the Bulls face the Spurs. Then it's a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals as the even stronger Jazz host the Trailblazers. An NBA doubleheader next Sunday.
The Buffalo defense being introduced. Let's go to O.J. on the fields.
Well, Bob, as far as I'm concerned, the key to this football game is the Buffalo defense. You're talking Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith. If they cannot put pressure on Dan Marino, the Bills will not win this football game.
Well, the Miami offense is introduced. Let's see if we can hear Todd Christensen. Todd?
Bob, if you're talking to me, I can barely hear you. But you know, one thing people are talking about is 2 weeks ago, because of Buffalo's win, that dramatic, greatest comeback in history, that they're a team of destiny. You mentioned the home field advantage, something to look out for. Maybe Miami's a team of destiny. No way they should have beat New England up there, but when they sacked Carlson, that's a play that people are going to look back on as maybe a pivotal play if the Dolphins win today and go to the Super Bowl, Bob.
I should try to compete with this. I'll get out of the way and let you listen. The AFC Championship is next. The winner goes to Pasadena, and we go to Dick Enberg and Bob Trumpy for the call in just a moment. See you at halftime.
Left quarterback number 23, Troy Vincent. And right quarterback number 37, J.B. Brown. And the strong safety number 26, Jarvis Williams. And at free safety number 25, Lewis Oliver. On the south sideline, head coach Don Shula, his staff, and your Miami Dolphins.
Ex-husband stole their daughter to a foreign land. She risked it all to bring her home. Based on a true story. Mariel Hemingway, Desperate Rescue, NBC Monday.
It looks like the spinach we had for lunch.
We'll be back in a moment.
Excuse me? Yes, you. Can you remember the last time you sat down as a family and watched something that promoted individual worth, family values, and brought you closer together? Well, then maybe you'd be interested in a new video that does just that. It's called Family First, and it's yours free simply by calling 1-800-843-7200. Family First shares ideas that have brought happiness to families throughout the world, like setting aside one evening a week to be together as a family, to have fun, teach family values, promote service, or simply keep lines of communication open. Being a strong family today won't happen automatically, but calling 1-800-843-7200 for this free video will help. Family First is a gift to you from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at no cost or obligation when you call 1-800-843-7200. The ideas are simple, fun, and important. But best of all, they build stronger families. Discover how these techniques will help solve problems and strengthen your family. After all, one of the greatest sources of happiness in life comes from a close and loving family. For your free copy of this video cassette, call toll-free 1-800-843-7200 and put your family first.
Deep Space Nine, Thursdays at 8 on WPTZ.